Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion, and Sugar the Fit today is Rogue. Let's take a look at a video.
We all know that washing feet is a euphemism, right? The foot is referring to the third foot being the penis. I recommend everybody give this a read. It is phenomenal.
So the feet can be and frequently are a euphemism for genitals in the Hebrew Bible, but you've got to evaluate this euphemism on a case-by-case basis. For instance, uncovering one's feet is the more common euphemism for sex in the Hebrew Bible. Covering one's feet is a euphemism for defecation, because when you squat for a deuce, your robes end up down around your feet, covering them. So the feet are the literal feet in that euphemism. And then when David has sexually assaulted Bathsheba, he tries to cover up his crime by calling Uriah home and suggesting he go sleep with his wife. And he says, go home, wash your feet. And there's likely a double entendre going on here. To wash one's feet is to remove all of the outside world that has accreted to them. And so it is to cut one off from their daily life and to be present in the home. But there's also this overlay of get your thing wet. So that's likely what's going on there. But that does not mean that every reference to washing feet is a euphemism for this. And in John 13, we have Jesus washing his disciples' feet in an explicit overturning of the social hierarchy. At the very end, Jesus says you've got to do this one to another, and this is not some veiled reference to sex. This is the idea that he is their master, but he is putting himself in the position that an enslaved person would take in the Greco-Roman world. An enslaved person would wash a guest's feet. And so Jesus, the master, is humbling himself, putting him in the position of the enslaved person, and then saying, do this to one another. In other words, be humble. Don't put yourselves above each other. Put yourselves beneath each other. And so that whole narrative explicitly describes in detail the actual process of washing his disciples' feet. And while there is some value to considering what this could mean if this were a euphemism for sex, the overwhelming academic consensus is that no such euphemism was intended by the authors, and no such euphemism would have been understood by the overwhelming majority of the original audience.
The author talks about how in Bible school he realized there was a lot of sexual information in the Bible, and cultural bias gets in the way of translation of sexual information.
This is absolutely true, and if you would like a wonderful and an accessible discussion of this, I highly recommend Jennifer Knust's book, Unprotected Texts.
Euphemisms exist because culturally you couldn't talk about these things out in the open. Translators of the Bible take words and concepts of an alien culture and put them in modern forms. This problem is aggravated by the existence of euphemisms. Eastern cultures are renowned for their indirectness. Western language, on the other hand, has a facility for being blunt. The Bible is a collection of stories, poems, and analogies that we have taken so literally in the Western world. I could do an entire video on how heaven and hell are just literal misinterpretations of real states of mind.
And that would be reading New Age ideologies into the ancient world.
Back to the feet, okay? One example of this is King Saul entering a cave to cover his feet. Man's was taking a piss.
No, it was a deuce.
Isaiah 7:20, they will have a razor put to their heads, their beards, and the hair of their feet. It's the pubis.
That is accurate.
Jesus was an anti-government leftist who hung out with prostitutes.
That's also reading modern ideological frameworks back into the ancient world.
And in my opinion was a transgender homosexual, so him having a polyamorous the night before he peaced out is not that surprising to me.
And this is an example of negotiating with the text to make it more meaningful and or useful to us, but this is not what's going on in John 13.
Honestly, I think it's just disappointing. I think it's a missed opportunity. I think Christianity could have been so cool. I think we could have been having way better parties.
I can't really disagree with that.